Welcome back to That Thursday Thing, where this evening we are joined by a very special guest. Kevin Gordon has come in
He's not
with
Brilliant.
only Mathew from Dodgy.
Hey!
Hey, good evening.
Hello.
Thank you for coming in.
Oh, well, nice pleasure.
What brings you to Penzance on a fine summer's evening?
I was going to ask you that question. Yeah. Well, we've got a little acoustic tour that we're doing up of Cornwall. We're doing Penzance tonight in about 2 hours, and then we're going to the Scilly Isles tomorrow, and then we're doing St Agnes tomorrow night. The tap house in St Agnes. Well, it's come about because they've been trying to get us over to the Scilly Isles, I think, for about 20 years. I think we got the first request for us to play in the Scilly Isles about 17 years ago, and we could never get round to it. We never fitted in with the schedule, and then we split up for 10 years, which didn't help.
Slight handicap.
Yeah, and then bizarrely enough, because we used to live in Stoke Newington in London, bizarrely enough, a chap that used to live in Stoke Newington via Northern Ireland now lives in the Scilly Isles, and he got the gig. He booked us and he says, come on, you know. So we're going over as an acoustic. The three of us are just going over and we're going to play a gig in the Scilly Isles. And because we had that gig locked in for tomorrow night, we thought we'll do a couple of gigs either side, you know. So this is why I'm in Penzance.
Right.
But my folks live in Penzance. They moved here just over 20 years ago. They live in Sennin Cove. So I know the area very, very well.
Superb. Because Kevin told us you were coming, and I was a bit like, what, Dodgy? And we'd only mentioned you a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we played one the other night on a sort of Britpop night thing we did. And we started talking about, which band would we like back? And we weren't really aware that you kind of got back together again after the break of 10 years. And then Kevin's like, oh, they're coming. And what?
Yeah,
so
original lineup.
It was a bit of a surprise, but a brilliant one. Because I know Ade and I kind of think way back to our university days. Of the 90s.
Yes.
You mean something to us in that way that, you know, people have those bands, don't they, that are certain points in their lives.
That's good. Whereabouts were you at university?
I was in Swansea.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
I know,
Ade was in...
I only went as far as Plymouth.
Yeah.
It's fine, it's nice.
Because we used to play a lot of those university balls. We've done quite a few of those. From as lowly as Lancaster to as high as Cambridge and Oxford, we used to play balls. And quite a bit of a difference between the Cambridge balls and the Lancaster balls.
Who knew how to party harder?
Well, they all party because you're all students, and but with some of the universities, the poly universities, the ones that just switched, then it's it wasn't that much to go to the ball, but I think it was £300 for a ticket for the Oxford and Cambridge.
Whoa, nice.
I know, exactly.
How much of that did you get?
Yeah, of course we charged quite a bit. Of course we did. Yeah.
I'd go for it.
Why not?
Yeah, I think Swansea was £20 ahead. Yeah. As many fairground rides as you liked.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, brilliant.
And that's if you could brave the airfield. Yes, it was held on an airfield.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You couldn't get more glamorous, I tell you. It was fantastic.
Can I talk about glamorous? I split my trousers on a bouncy castle.
Oh!
And I'd hired them from Moss Bros.
No!
So that was as exciting as it got in Plymouth. I think I've just killed the conversation.
Oh, you did, actually?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't take him anyway.
No, we've got that image we can't unthink of you with the trousers split.
Yeah.
I can't unthink that.
Talking of split, why did the band split up?
Why did we split up? Well, it was...
Good link, Kev.
I like that. Well done, Kev. Yeah. Well, it's all the real pent-up emotion and the real depth of emotion. You can't ever sort of remember, exactly how you felt. You know what it's like in the height of an argument, and you'll feel all these reasons why you feel that way, and then 10 years later you're like, I can't really remember why I felt that way.
Yeah.
But I do. I mean, plain reasons is that Nigel was he had 2 kids. He had a family, 2 young kids in quick succession in the mid-90s, and me and Andy didn't. Me and Andy were still going out, enjoying the whole thing of being in a band in the mid-90s, and how, because it wasn't just music that was doing well in England at the time. Comedy was doing really well, art was doing really well, and all these used to meet in London, and so we'd go out and have a great time. And then Nigel wasn't, and he didn't really get into the fame thing. He wasn't into that, a schism happened within our relationship, and and then it split. Simple as that. But one thing happened is that we never really had a bad album. We never really had a bad time together. We didn't really have like years of us hating each other or anything like that. It just simply went bang.
It didn't fizzle out.
No, it didn't fizzle out. I mean, we ended up with top. We released our most successful album and then we split up.
That's the way to do it.
Exactly.
So the logical next question is, why did you get back together?
Well, we got back together because we've forgotten why we split up in the first place. Yeah, because
good reason.
Who made the phone call? Who picked up the call?
Well, it was actually our lighting guy. It was our lighting engineer. He was he had a brain tumour. He was dying of a brain tumour. No, you can laugh away. No, don't worry, man.
That's not so funny.
No, it's fine. And he was having a testimonial before he died for his kids, and he was supposed to last 6 months, but he lasted 18 months, and everyone was looking at the watch going, Jesus, Andy, weren't you supposed to go about 12 months ago? and he said, look, I'm dying here, and what are you two doing arguing? Well, why aren't you together? You're my favourite band, and we got together at the testimonial, and we did Stand Out for the Summer, and that's the kind of catalyst that got us talking, and we think, you know what, it feels good, and why don't we try it again? And you always need something to, which is a bit nicer than someone just giving us a big check,
Yeah.
But that was it, and when we got back together, we thought, well, this feels really good, and we had loads of really songs that we've been building up over those 10 years, and the chemistry was still there, and then we released our new album last year, and it got the best reviews of our career.
Brilliant.
Which is
I
great.
don't know how we missed that, but I'm going to have to get a copy because.
Go on to dodgyology.com and you'll find it.
Yep. Sorry, well, I'm not lit. Yeah.
You are.
I was actually going to bring them in tonight and completely forgot.
You fool.
So you've just been in the studio bar in Penzance, which is a small venue by any description.
Yeah.
And
it's a staircase essentially.
Yeah. I mean, you've done Glastonbury. Just looking at the wiki page there, and this must be just about the smallest you've ever done.
Well, it reminds me, this bar, the studio bar, of the 12 bar in Denmark Street, which is a famous little venue, and it's got that same kind of vibe to it as well. We've played lots of places all over the world, just where you do little acoustic shows or whatever. So nothing surprises us. We're happy just to come and play. I think nowadays you've got to be adaptable, and you've got to be agile as a band, and you've got to be able to play small gigs, play big gigs, and I think the bands that just go out and expect to be able to take their huge tour and the whole band and the whole back line and all their crew on tour, they're not going to be able to tour that much, because people haven't got that much money anymore. And they're not going to be able to go out, and people don't buy as many albums, people don't buy as many concert tickets, and it's a whole different world. So you've got to be able to be agile and, go and play a little gig in Penzance and go and play in the City Halls and go and do a big gig in London.
We appreciate that because, the number of bands that come down here, you can count them on one hand.
Well, I think it's because they wouldn't get their guarantee of money, and so a lot of bands it costs about £1,000, £2,000 to just get the band on the road, for one night. But we've slimmed it down, so we can come and play certain places. It's otherwise you don't get to play it. You know what I mean? And then suddenly you grind to a halt, and you wonder why no one's buying your records anymore. So yeah. It's good, that's why we're here.
Yeah. What do you think about the current resurgence in the Britpop? You talked about the sort of height of the 90s where it was Royal Britannia, wasn't it? Cool Britannia, and Oasis in Downing Street and all that nonsense. But I mean, you've got yourselves in Penzance tonight. We've got Reef up in Newquay.
Oh, okay.
It's the premiere of the Stone Roses film
tonight. That's right.
It seems to be going Britpop crazy.
Well, it's 20 years, isn't it? It's 20 years since 1993. Which is apparently the birth of Britpop.
20 years.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's 20 years since the release of our debut album, the Dodgy album, which was released in 1993. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's 20 years, and people like to get nostalgic, don't they?
Yeah.
Britpop, it kind of passed us by in the sense we never really felt part of it. Britpop wasn't really a sound. People can eulogise about it a lot, and they can in hindsight, they can say, oh, Britpop was this and Britpop was that. Britpop wasn't anything. Britpop was a period in time where a load of bands had seen the Stone Roses and gone, hang on, we don't have to be ashamed that we want to be big now. Because throughout the 80s there was this whole kind of false modesty of oh no, we just want to be a small indie band. And then the Stone Roses came out and went, no, we want to be massive. And that gave bands the confidence to say, yeah, we want to be massive. We want to be a big band like the Beatles and the Stones as well. And so a load of bands came through, like the Charlatans and Oasis and Blur and Pulp and Supergrass and Nos and whatnot that were unashamedly writing commercial songs, with an edge, with a twist, with good lyrics, with an attitude. But that's essentially it. There were loads of good bands coming through. But what people don't sort of mention a lot is that was twinned with the fact that Radio 1 had changed its whole policy around that time as well, at the start of the 90s, where Matthew Bannister came in and just literally wiped the old guard away with Simon Bates and DLT and Steve Wright and whatnot, and brought in the new guard of Chris Evans and Zoe Ball, etc., etc. And they needed a sound to brand their radio station. And it came perfectly at the time, in 1993 and 1994, when Dodgy were coming through in Oasis and Blur, that they could say, right, this is the sound of Radio 1 in the early 90s. And Britpop happened, I'll put the same inverted commas, happened because Radio 1 backed it.
Wow.
And that's essentially it, and that's a lot of people forget about. People think, oh, Britpop, Oasis, Blur. No. Britpop really was to do with the fact that Radio 1 backed those bands. We got played to buggery on Radio 1. We got played a lot on Radio 1. A lot of bands don't get played on Radio 1 now. You know what I mean? And that's essentially what it was. And it was the biggest radio station in the country at the time, Radio 1. With Chris Evans there, it was bigger than Radio 2 and Radio 4. Now Radio 2 is bigger than Radio 1.
Because we're all that bit older.
And that's essentially it. And I think people forget about that, is that it was just... So there wasn't a sound. People didn't go away and go, let's stroke our beards and work out how to get that Britpop sound. It was essentially, we were all making really good songs that were commercially minded, and luckily there was a radio station to play it.
And most of the bands went old enough to grow beards anyway.
What's that? Yeah, exactly. I'm stroking a beard now.
Sorry, can't help that.
The Ade and Jules remix.
Yeah, quite poor remix.
If you want us to do backing vocals tonight,
You know what? No.
You've not heard our full repertoire yet.
Do you know what? I'd be more shocked if you said yes, and I would pat myself.
So what are the plans for... Matthew's going to get off. What are the plans for the future for Dodgy?
Well, we've got shows coming up. We've got a few more acoustic shows, and we've got this back-to-back tour at the moment we're going out with, because 20 years since the release of the first album, so we're playing that album in full, the Dodgy album. And because the last album that we did last year, Stand Upright in a Cool Place, it's a lot of love out there for that album. It got great reviews, and we're playing that in full as well, playing that back to back with the first album, and so it's quite a long show. It's like 2.5 hours. And we're doing that, and we've got a few more of those shows to do towards the end of June. We've got festivals throughout the summer, and then we're going to release a live album from this tour, the back-to-back album. So that's going to come out, and I think we're actually going to take a bit of a break towards the end of the year, which is something we haven't done for about 2 years. So we'll take a break, and hopefully we'll be able to record some stuff. We've got loads of new songs, and that's annoying. You know, it's been able to get down and find the time to record the songs, and once we get that, then new stuff. And next year is 20 years since the release of Homegrown, which has got Staying Out for the Summer and all those kind of songs on there. So there are things to do if we want to do it, as long as we're getting on with each other and we enjoy each other's company still. Then,
and as long as you're enjoying it, that's amazing. Yeah, and you obviously are. So
yeah, absolutely,
brilliant.
That's it.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you
good luck with the station. Hope it all works out.
Cheers, and we shall be seeing you a bit later on.
Yes.
Are you coming down?
We are indeed. Oh, yes.
We'll get down early because I've heard it might sell out.
Which
is not hard.
Yeah, we've got tickets.
Oh, you've got tickets already.
Have you just got us all organised?
We don't finish till 10, but we will be up after that.
We'll be straight up.
Well, we're on stage at 10.
We'll be.
Can you wait for us to get in?
Hot foot.
Well, good luck. Hopefully I'll see you there later.
Certainly will do. Lovely.